Host Kathy Baldwin. Unlearn the Crap TV is more than just a show. It's a movement towards breaking free from the disempowering structures designed to benefit the few at the expense of the many. It's about education, healing, and unlearning the detrimental beliefs that have been ingrained in society for generations. So now, please welcome the host of Unlearn the Crap TV, Kathy Baldwin.
Welcome back to Unlearn the Crap TV, where we talk about everything that is disempowering and gets in your way of being your authentic, amazing, genius self. Now, we've been talking a lot about how you can become empowered because I believe that personal empowerment is our right. It is our birthright. It is our purpose to become whole and to bring our best selves to the world. And you know most of my story, that the healing of my trauma and everything that my body went through fibromyalgia, osteoarthritis, mental health, suicide attempts. I mean, I had it all. And I said that was an inside healing journey, that I could no longer look externally for somebody to come and save me, that I needed to do this, that we need to do this ourselves. And it must begin from the inside. Because with universal laws, it is proven that our external results, what we live in, is a total reflection of what's happening inside. Well, that sounds wonderful when we are talking about things we know about, things that we can control. When we can take a look at our past, our traumas, our feelings, our emotions, and we can actively be self-directing our own self-care. But what about the things we don't know about? What about those environmental factors that we are being subjected to? Do you know that I have been doing some research on the quality of our environment? Because I do know that mental health is affected by our environment. Our physical health is affected by our environment, our DNA. Every part of our life is affected by our external environment. So we are seeing a resurgence of homesteading, of people going back to the basics, growing their own food, looking for grass-fed animals and getting away from hormones. We know that the resurgence of hormone imbalances are due to the chemicals and the pesticides and everything in our environment. Do you know that a research study was just done that proves that there were 240,000 microplastics in the average 1 liter plastic bottle? That is what we are putting into our body. So you have to wonder, what else don't we know? What else are we being affected by that we have no knowledge of, no ability to control, because it's knowledge and understanding that gives us our power? Well, today I brought on an expert because this is so important to me, that we are all totally empowered to be the best of ourselves. And we don't know what we don't know. So I'd like you to welcome Rachel Sekeny from across the globe. I am here in North America and it is 4 p.m. Eastern. And thank you, Rachel, for showing up in the middle of the night from the other side of the world in Australia.
Yeah, I'm so blessed to be here. Thank you, Kathy. I really love your show, and I'm so glad that our lives crossed paths, and we get to really empower more people to really understand what's happening, and really unlearning the crap is such a beautiful way, because we've sold a narrative, we've been sold a lie And I don't say that lightly. It's, there's a war against our consciousness here. And that's why I love that you called me an expert. But I think when you actually delve into things for your own journey, you become an expert at something because you're so passionate about finding out why is so many people getting sick? Why is there 1 in 3 women getting cancer and diagnosed? Like, this isn't normal. This is not how we're supposed to be living. And when I woke up to this a few years ago, I was really had to get my feet in the ground and go, oh my God, like, what's really going on here? And really started to delve into some research. And there's absolutely like pages and pages of research about, the water and oxidative stress. There's, autism. I have a child with autism, so it was really important for me to digest all of the learnings of what's in the water. And how can they poison us through the water? Like, what's the intention? What's really going on here? And it's probably going to shock a lot of people because everyone thinks, well, we've got free water, we've got clean water, like, what's wrong with the tap? We've got taps in our houses. And unfortunately, there's, some things that are happening behind the scenes, and I don't really want to go delve into it too much unless you want to. But they want to keep us sick. They don't want us to be thriving and living our best lives. So what's one way that you could actually poison the mass? How could you actually get something to all of the houses across the globe? Through the water. And, this was a very dark realization to know the chemicals. There was actually something that I just read that the pathogens and toxins through the water, they've actually got formaldehyde. I'm not really technical on all of the the chemicals, but they're putting that through our water. They're poisoning us. They've been doing it for decades. And that just makes me really, sick to the stomach to know that I have trusted my water supply for 40 years, and I've watched people in my life, getting the, what, and like, all of this is actually, how did you think when people were in lockdown, how do you think that they were going to get to the people, through the water supply? So I've really been awake to this for a few years now, and I've really started to protect my family with certain systems, and there is a solution. So I'm not going to give you all the dark and gloom. There's solutions to this. We can protect ourselves. We can take back our power. It's all about doing your due diligence and research yourself, because when people are told they're sold a lie, it doesn't sit well for most people. So it's really important for me to just open your eyes and just be aware and keep an open mind. You don't have to believe everything that you see, but I would just encourage you to do the research, and that's what I've been able to do with my experience, and knowing that the water that you have in the tap is actually not good for you. And the reason I say that is I know that, there's over 80 chemicals. I think it was like identified over 80 regulated contaminants in the tap water: pharmaceuticals, lead, chlorine, arsenic, pesticides, hormones, bacteria. And the whole agenda, I guess, is that this is really affecting women and their hormones. It's really affecting women reproducing. There is so much depth to this. There's so much darkness to this. But I don't want to disempower you with this. I want to empower you with this knowledge so that you can take back your power and really control what you can control. Because I wasn't aware of this, for 40 years, and I'm not going to go back and go, I can't believe I didn't know. But as you said, Kathy, like, once you unlearn and you start to really step in and take back your power and stop believing things that you see on TV and media and doctors, like, I'm not going to disempower doctors, but I think that we just need to really understand that there's an agenda behind this. So what is in the water is really affecting the statistics of like one in two men and 1 in 3 women will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime.
That's insane. So I'm really happy that you are bringing us the facts and the statistics. But let's start with you as a woman, as a wife, and as a mother. You said that this is something that's come recently to your life. How did it come? How did it start to affect you that you went down this long rabbit hole of research?
It came across, I guess, God-given. I truly believe everything happens for a reason. My mum had a tragic accident a few years ago. She was in result of a brain injury. So I started to really study the brain and how to rebuild and connect. And it led me into really looking about how to rebuild and what could we do, what were the foundations of ultimate vital health. And I knew that we're 75% water, so that was a good place to start. And then I started to do the research on what was in our tap water and what was keeping us so sick. And I really wanted to help her on her healing journey. And I also undergo like some mental health issues as well myself, and started to really not be my best version of myself. And then my son at the same time was diagnosed with autism. So I really felt as a mother and a daughter that I had this responsibility to really step up, put my big girl pants on, and actually work out how I could be the best support I could possibly be. So I actually invested into a water system, and I can share that with you later. But I started this journey about 4 years ago. So it hasn't been that long, but it feels like a lifetime ago now because I wouldn't go back. and I do this quite gently and nurturing with people around me, because people don't like to believe that, things that are given to us and, provided from the government and that would be not in our best interest, and I think it's a very gentle conversation to have. So that's why for me it was important to really do my due diligence and research. So I started to, I built my house and I was still very unhappy. So I was like, what's going on? So I went down the whole mindset work, and then I thought, well, the mind's good, got to get the body good. So I started to really build this into a little project that I worked on for myself, and then I knew that it would work, and I knew that I was the best version of myself. So then I started to go out and share that with everyone that I was in contact with, and built programs from it, because I know it works. It was literally the foundation. Like, we're 75% water, the earth is 75% water. The food we go, this goes so deep that we have to get all of the chemicals off our food, and that's where we can do that with this water system as well. So then I started to know that this was such a powerful thing that I could do for my family. Like, it replaced all my chemicals in my home. I don't use any toxic sprays and all the things. Like, it gets to the point where you can really take back your power. So I got really passionate about it. I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. It wasn't just for my own benefit. I knew that this was going to really change lives. And I came up with the design her concept, and really wanted people to know that, the person, and you're the biggest asset. Once you can build that version of yourself, and it starts with the water, and then you can take back your power and you start to work out your soul purpose mission. Like, I just felt that it was just such an eye-opening moment when you start to see, and my big mission is to see more mums. I'm an everyday mum from Sydney, Australia, talking about water. I mean, who am I? But yeah, I started to find my passion and my purpose, and I think that's the key to everyone. And this is where you can start by, changing your water, and you will absolutely change your life. And it's definitely the foundation.
Let's talk about how all of that has come about and how we can take our power back when we come back from this commercial break.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery, or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense Radio Show with host Dr. Broderick. Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
So, Rachel, I can see how passionate you are about water and chemicals that are in our life. And I see that passion and I know what it's like. It just bubbles up. But there's going to be people who are listening that are going to think this is a conspiracy theory, that are going to think, you know what, I've been drinking this water my whole life. I've gotten this far. I mean, there's people who don't understand our microbiome and how upsetting the microbiome and putting all of these toxins into our body create inflammation and how that creates disease. And this information is starting to come up. Could you please give us some real facts that are proven that can displace any of the naysayers who think that this is just a woman with a conspiracy theory?
Oh, yes. I've felt like, yeah, talking about water and conspiracy, for the faint eye, it's just, yeah, it's going to just wash over. But I have been doing my due diligence for such a long time in the last few years to really understand the depth of this. And I lost about 22 kilos myself once I changed this concept. So your body is storing things, and the water that's in the tap is not, I don't know if talking about going to the bathroom, but you
We
seem
can talk about any crap here.
Your body doesn't want the water that's in the tap. Okay, so what will happen is you're not hydrating at the optimal, that what you should be. So your body, it just flushes it out. It goes straight out. It doesn't want it. So that's where people are, when they're eating or consuming or things that the water's not going to break it down. Because you need to get the microclusters in your water so that you can break down to the cellular level. We've got like 1 trillion cells that it needs to get to, and this tap water is not getting through that because of all of the chemicals and the pesticides and all of the herbicides, all of the stuff that's in there. The body's just rejecting it, so you're not hydrating. Like, you think that you're hydrating and you're not. So what's happening is that the things that you're consuming in the environment are going to be stuck in your body.
Okay, so is this like what I was talking about with hormones and chemicals, that when we suppress it and we keep it in our body will create inflammation to protect us from it? Are you saying that's what's happening?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Could you explain that a little bit more, please?
Yeah, so your body stores memories. So your body is your memory storer. So everything that's happened in your life, like traumatic, will stay in your body somewhere. And depending on where it is, if you've had trauma, in your root chakra or the bottom section of your body will then hold on to whether it's weight, or, something will form like a cancer or something. And this is getting a bit deeper than the water, but it's your memories and your thoughts, your words and actions are a very vital part to your life. And that's a different story when I learned neuro-linguistic programming. So there's two parts to this. It's obviously the water plays a huge part to really nurture and take care of the body, but there's also the element of the trauma and things that are stuck there. So whatever you're consuming, whether it be in your environment, whether it be in your body, whether it be what you see, all of this will actually contribute to what happens to your body. So that's why I'm really passionate about understanding how we can best support and flush out and get to the cellular level with your water. So that's where you can actually get to. So the water that you drink in the tap doesn't get to the cells, so it doesn't flush out the things that the toxic things that are in your body that's stored there, and everything will be stored unless you bring it up. And then you need to replace it with positive things that will fill it up, because otherwise you're gonna fill it up with something else that you don't want. So it has to be replaced by a positive thought and event. So the neurons that fire together wire together. So the more that you can replace with positive things, then that obviously is going to create an optimal health, and then your body will then rejuvenate. And your body rejuvenates every 11 months. So you can create a new body in 11 months as long as you're doing the right things. And that's why your water is so vital to this concept, because if you want to change your life, you can literally rebuild a new version of you in 11 months.
So,
your skin,
so help me to understand what good non-toxic water does to our body. How does it go through the system that is different from water that is contaminated with any of these pollutants, hormones, microplastics, whatever?
Yeah, so as I said, with the tap water, it's going to not want to have it stored in the body. So you won't be hydrating as much as you think you are. And I say this, with kindness, because a lot of people, what you don't know, you don't know. So whatever you've done to this day is totally fine. Like, I did this for 40 years. I had no idea about this. I was actually drinking, I love bottled water, sparkling water, and I now know that it's actually acidic and it's not good for you, because we need to have negative charged. We got to be negatively charged, not positively. So our body's optimal performance will be when it's at a negative charge, and that's just another level of science and how that all works. But with when you have a microclustered water and it's actually penetrating the cellular level, that's when the game changes, because your cells are what store the memory, and you've got 1 trillion of them. So what better way to get to the trillion cells is through the water. And
So
once it breaks yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt you, but you are bringing
No,
up
that's
so
all right.
many things in my mind that I'm getting excited and passionate about this as well. So, are you saying that our water, when we are drinking contaminated water, that we are creating more inflammation? But when we are drinking clean, pure water, we are actually flushing that out?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's all going to go, and it's like, you can't get those bad boys in my belly. The water's like, the first thing that was on this earth was water. Like, God gave us water. And then the nasty guys decided, let's work with the water to kind of get to the masses, because we all need water. What's one thing that we need that we can't survive without, So what better way?
So, what are they putting in the water, and how do we know that it is being purposefully done? I know that microplastic is leaching. Okay, let me back up a little bit. I know, like I know
Yeah.
that our society is set up for our mass disempowerment. That all of our systems, our education, our medical, everything is designed so that we become complacent and disempowered so that we'll just go along with the flow and everything can happen. Are
Yeah.
you saying that our very water supply is purposefully being contaminated? And if so,
Yeah.
how do you prove that?
How do you prove that? And it's actually, they've done some tests that have identified these toxic chemicals in people that have actually passed, and they, it's coming through. I think it was Jonathan Otto, who was was actually a chiropractor, but then he got a call from a doctor, and they, if we're going to go down the COVID thing, but because there's a new monkey virus coming, by the way, so you're going to have to protect yourself this time around. But yeah, they found that the snake venom was in the bodies and the streams of people's blood. So when they identified what the real COVID thing was and how it was actually getting through the system, it's another story. Like, I could talk about this for hours, but they identify that the chemicals in people's bloodstreams were coming through, through the water. So it gets to be really deep. There's actually like levels of PubMed documents on this. So which I'm very happy to send out. They're all public, they're all there. All this information is out there. It's just whether you're up to, deep diving into it and really understanding and doing your due diligence, because there's case studies that have proven this. There's doctors that are starting to wake up to this, and there's a video actually on Rumble that I watched that identified where they get into the water supply and how they actually how do they do that, and it's very eye-opening.
Can you explain what's in that video on how they're doing it? Because I know you're going to share that resource in the show notes. We'll make sure that you've got all of the links on how people can contact you and get all of this proof. But what is this video showing us? What did you see? What do you know?
It was all about the antidote. So it was about how the two snake venoms were put together in the lab, and what their intention was, which wasn't good, and how they actually put it into the water supply to it was just more about that, and then it was to identify how they were actually doing it, and then that's where I got into protecting your water supply and how to actually and do that, and what's actually coming through our everyday water. So it was
Snake venom.
snake venom.
Okay, so
And that because it gets the receptor up here, right? So what are the traits of when you get sick? And it's respiratory, right? So I can't for the life of me remember the actual name of it, but your receptors behind here will affect your respiratory system. And what was the other thing that you get when you get the thing? But yeah,
pardon?
and you know what they did as well? They tobacco, cigarettes actually aren't. Well, the tobacco is not actually bad for you. It's actually when they discovered that people weren't getting addicted to it, they decided to put all these chemicals in it, and that's what was causing people to die. It's not actually the tobacco. So a lot of people are now wearing tobacco patches around to protect themselves from this thing, right? So
Okay,
tobacco.
I want to know. That is a topic that we got to go deeper into, but we must do it when we come back from commercial
Yes.
because I want to know more about this. Be right back.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like, it was almost instant. Like, I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Okay, I'm going to pick up where we left off with it. I'm going to say, WTF. What do you mean people are wearing tobacco patches?
Yeah, so tobacco, because of this receptor that gets the snake venom, it actually doesn't stay in the body with tobacco. And there's another one is magnesium. And these were the things. So I don't know if you saw in America, they started to stop people from smoking. And there was a reason behind that as well. So and then people that started to really open up and open their eyes and realize there was some research done with tobacco that it actually flushed it out of their system. So people are wearing tobacco patches at the moment.
Okay, so tobacco is a plant that is grown.
Yeah.
And I could never understand why something in Mother Nature could be bad for us unless
And
it was a poison. So and we know that there's chemicals in everything. And so are you saying it was the chemical? This is brand new to me. And you can tell.
So this was quite a long time ago when they realized, when they brought out tobacco, because they want us to be addicted to things that are not good for us. But the tobacco itself is actually fine. Money, everything. It's all to do with money and power.
Yep.
And so people weren't getting addicted to the cigarettes. So they put all these things in there so that people are actually addicted. So that's what's causing the sickness, is actually the chemicals in there, not the tobacco. Everything that God put on this earth naturally is good for us. So that's where, the things get deep. And then they realized that that tobacco was actually flushing out the vaccine. So they decided to try and do a whole smoking campaign to stop smoking. And because people were not getting sick. So that's where that came in. So there's always these little agendas on the side that mind-blowing.
I want to know more about that. So I'm going to be asking you to share that proof with me, because we do know that the smoke affects the lungs. And I'm assuming then that you're talking about that the smoke was the chemicals that were getting into us. So we're gonna switch off of that one, because that one's just a big
another
that I want to know more about, and I'm going to do some research. But I want
there's a lot of things that we can do, but I like coming back to the water. It's definitely where you can literally take back your power straight away. So that's what I want to inform families to do their research. I'm happy to share links to the paths that I've been able to access to really understand and delve deeper into the real issue of why we're so sick. We shouldn't be sick. We should be living over 100. This is not the way we're supposed to be living. And this has been going on for decades. So
what are the chemicals that we are ingesting, and how are they affecting us?
The chemicals they've got there's about 80 that have been identified, but this is in the US Environmental Protection Agency. they have identified over 80 regulated contaminants in the water. So the pharmaceuticals, because we're
Regulated?
flushing it. Hey?
Regulated?
Yeah.
So when we flush our
Oh.
water down the system and it goes through the water purifying plants, I know they're adding chlorine. I know that they're adding fluoride.
Fluoride.
Yeah. What else? They're adding chemicals.
Yeah. So the one that they've got, formaldehyde, I can't even say that one.
Formaldehyde? The stuff that
is
they put in dead bodies to keep it from rotting? Yeah.
Yeah, that's so much fun, right?
Yum.
So the microplastics is a big one. Like if anyone drinks bottled water, it's not the solution either. Like, I mean, how long's that been sitting on a truck? And also, it's been you probably have a credit card size of plastic in your body that's causing you sickness. You know, and this is from water. So you're thinking that you're doing a good thing by buying bottled water. Absolutely not. You know, you're probably causing more harm. You know, there's just that extra level of sickness that you're going to, and this is, I mean, as we're not dying, you're not going to die like overnight from drinking water, but it's just that continuous, you know, over time that's building up and building up and building up. And then they go, oh my God, they got cancer. Oh, it's in the family. Oh, it's this, you know, and it's like, it's always looking outward, but it's like when you start to realize that you're actually creating the sickness yourself by drinking, you know, tap water, it becomes, it becomes like an inner problem. Like we can't rely on anything outside of ourselves anymore. We have to really, you know, and it shouldn't be that we can't trust, you know, the systems and the things that are being built for us, because unfortunately they're not being built for us to thrive. They're being built for us to survive. And that's where we need to change the narrative. We need to unlock these doors for people to really go into and discover for themselves, so that we can live our ultimate health and wealth, all of it. We shouldn't be poor. We shouldn't be unhealthy. We shouldn't be sick. Like, I have totally changed my view on this, like how I can actually build the best version of myself. And I don't need anything outside of that for me to do that. So, you know, I worked in corporate for 40 years and that's just slaving away, you know, and being so unhealthy to the way that society taught us to live. And, you know, there's better ways, you know, as you said before, like growing your own fruit and veggie, getting back on the land, like having your children, you know, thriving in homeschooling environments. Like there's so much that we can take back our power as mums, and protecting our cubs, you know, like we're creators. Like we get to really change this, and it gets to be really powerful once you know how simple it can actually be.
I love that message, because that is the message of Unlearn the Crap. That we can take back our power, that we can become self-knowledgeable, educated, self-empowered. All of that is within our control. And you're right, we're not meant to live sick. We're not meant to live poor. We're not meant to live just scraping by, hanging on by a thread, where we're having all of this mental health and depression and anxiety, where we're having this increase in diseases, and this whole area of the way our bodies work, the way our brains are wired, this inflammation, our microbiome. We're learning so much.
Yeah.
And I've asked this question a few times, and I'm going to push you for an answer a little bit more. What are the chemicals that they have proven are being purposely put in our water? Because when we think of bad water, or when I think of bad water, I think of third world countries that don't have water purification systems. That's where I think of India or China, where their water supply is right near their dumps, and it's all
Yeah. Well,
that's
this
what I
stuff,
think of.
you can't see this stuff because it just, it looks like, I mean, this is my molecular hydrogen water because it's got the clusters in there. But, you're drinking out of a tap, you've still got, it looks clean, right? It just looks like water. So you can't, and it's even like the chlorine in the shower. So, your skin's your largest organ. So you're literally putting chemicals on your skin every day as you bathe. So it's all the chlorine, the fluoride, there's hormones, there's bacteria, there's radioactive materials, there's pathogens, there's aluminium, there's actually microplastics in there, there's gardenia, E. coli. Just the list is like endless. Like there's a whole list. So I can share all that with you. It's mind blowing. Like,
and
and
I
it's like
want
a bio. It's a, what do they
and I
call
want
it?
you to share it. I want you to share it, but now I have a question that's popped into my mind. If that's the way we were, if that's the way I am right now, because I drink bottled water. I go to the store and buy those great big bottles that they have filtered. And so I think I'm doing the right thing. I know I don't buy the individual ones unless I absolutely have to in the store because I know all the studies about the carcinogenics and the BPA and all the rest of that. So I feel I'm fairly educated. But I still struggle with so many things with weight gain and inflammation. And I'm off of all of my meds that made me very sick and dealing with depression and anxiety and all of that. What do you feel like today? If you have now been drinking clean water, what is your brain clarity like? What
Oh,
is
the
your
clarity. Oh my God. The clarity. I actually built my business around this. All the ideas started to be downloading. You're closer, whatever your belief system is, you're closer to God's source. Like you're literally like a clean vessel. So because like everyone around me was like, Rach, what are you doing? What have you done? Like you've lost weight, you look good. Like I was like, oh my God, there's something in the water. Like literally, changed my water. So I lost a lot of weight. I wasn't inflamed in any way. Also, the other thing is my friend who has psoriasis and not psoriasis, eczema. What's the skin disease? So and I gave her the water. So I do this like for my own test to say, you know what? I wonder if if this is just me. I just give it my water to my friend, and she, it heals her psoriasis. Not psoriasis, it's the other word. Eczema, yeah. So, and then having a son with autism, like, because the brain health is so vital with kids on the spectrum to know that they don't have any, because a lot of it's to do with the toxins in the center of the brain from heavy metals. So once I was able to clear that out of his system, his behavior improved. There wasn't that, erratic behavior because the water actually cleaned out the heavy metals from his brain. So we still, there's still things to work on. It's not like it's an overnight, magic pill or anything like that. It's really just understanding what's been stored in your body and how you can clear it out. So your inflammation, and if there's excess weight that you're wanting to get, it just literally sheds. It literally, like I had someone that I gave water to. I had people that come to my house to ask for water. And she's like, oh my God, like I feel like so much lighter already, because it's not just, it's called electrolyzed reduced water. So once it charges the water, if you think about an electrical storm that, we don't all have access to this, but it's replicating that, charge, because we're electrical beings. Mm-hmm. We have, this is another, can go on for this, but the trillions of cells are like all asking you, what do you want me to do today? It's like, if you think about that, and then you're treating them with like replenishing them, you're hydrating them at the cellular level, they're going to work for you like 10 times faster. Does that make sense? So when you're treating your cells, yeah.
I know that we are electromagnetic, biochemical beings. And so this is all starting to make a lot of sense for me. And I want us to talk about where our empowerment is and how we can seize this. And we're going to finish up this conversation when we come back from this commercial break.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
So I know that this can sound a little overwhelming. We're having to take care of the clothing we wear. We have to be very conscious of where we spend our time and our money and the food we eat. We have to be aware of the chemicals that we're bringing into our home. My stepdaughter came for a visit from California, and she brought me a bottle of soap that is so good that I can use it to wash my fruits and vegetables. Well, never in my wildest dreams would I think of using my laundry detergent or my dish soap to wash my fruits and vegetables. But now we're finding that this is starting to become mainstream. And so, how do people transition from the world that we had where there was a product for everything, there was a pill for every illness, and move into a place of holistic well-being?
Oh, that's my jam. I love who would have thought? Like, I was so materialistic. And I'm like, luxury for me is like the whole eco lifestyle. Like, it's everything that's good for me, good for you, good for the planet, good for the collective. Like, I've changed like completely away from, the brands and the things that, make you feel good for a second. It's like, yeah, that's good. But once you see the power that you can have by changing, the products and, the water, and start to create that lifestyle for yourself, it's so empowering, because you need less and you get so much more back, and that's, but the transition is really about, for me, when I started, it was like, you know what, it actually started with a purpose, because I was so unhappy. And you know what the funny thing was, is that I had panic attacks, anxiety, depression. I don't know, I can give myself a lot of labels, but for me, I don't like labels so much. I understand that you're just out of alignment to your mission. And when I decided to turn my marketing hat on and build this business, it was like, and I just want to encourage everyone to have their own business, like find their joy, and once you can really start to unravel, like, why are you here, what's your purpose, then you'll start to naturally fall into a lifestyle that's in alignment, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. That is
Yeah,
one of the mission statements of Unlearn the Crap, is that we all become empowered financially and we take care of all of our structural needs so that we can step into our genius. So
yeah.
what did you start doing? How did you start educating yourself? What is the advice that you give people when they say, okay, I'm tired of being sick and tired. I'm tired of having brain fog. I'm tired of all of the things that are happening in my body. I'm tired of carrying this weight. I'm tired of feeling depressed and listless.
Yeah,
How,
you know what the question I would ask, Kathy? What
yes.
brings you joy?
Well, the question for me is already answered. It's doing.
Yeah. So I would literally go back to the inner child in you, and she's probably been hurt and all the things, and I would actually invite that inner child. Like I do this with NLP. I've done all the hypnosis studies, but we have all these tools available to everyone. So I'm not going to say you have to go out and get a degree or a course or anything like that. You've actually got all this information. You just got to search for it. And the only way you can search is to sit. And whether you do transcendental meditation or you do anything, they all work. But I just think you need to sit with yourself. And I had one of my ladies that did this. She goes, "Oh my God, it was the hardest thing to do, to sit for 30 minutes on my own, because we're so conditioned to be busy." And
We
you
have,
will get,
yeah.
yeah,
We have been programmed with dopamine hits through every part of our society, and it's all external. But let's go back to
yeah.
water. How does somebody begin the process to start to unlearn the crap about what is
Yeah,
making?
well, I would do your research. I'm happy to be, a vessel for knowledge, but I would just invite you to go to look at the research, and really, you can book a call, or I can have a conversation with you on the next steps. But I would highly recommend to stop drinking tap water. Do what you can for now, but really, getting a whole house system is one thing, and it just gets rid of all of the chemicals, and then you need to then recharge your water to an optimal level, because we've got to be at least over 8 pH, and most water that you're consuming is probably out of 3 or 4. So it's not even like the pH level. Yeah. So we need to, just really lean into the conversation and understand how you can access better drinking water.
Okay. So, on that note, for anybody who wants to know more information, I am so excited to announce that the Unlearn the Crap community, the doors are opening for founders September 15th. And when you and I finish this conversation, we're not going to beat around the bush. You're going to share with us the opportunities that you have created health and wealth from. And if anyone wants to seize their own empowerment and their own health and their own wealth, we're going to dig deep, and they can access you either through this affiliate link that is here on the screen, because we all know here at Unlearn the Crap, I believe that the universal laws state that it must be equal compensation, that it cannot be a win-lose. We must do win-win-win. And so I encourage you to subscribe and watch our show, our program channels. Subscribe, become regular viewers, and become part of the community that will be launching. DM me, find me on kathybaldwin.me, and all the information about the community is coming out. And then you can talk one-on-one with Rachel and learn more. Rachel, thank you so much. we could probably talk forever. I'm dying to see all of this proof and reports, and I can't wait to introduce you to the Unlearn the Crap community one-on-one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathy. So pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. And to all those watching, remember, there is crap to unlearn because you are important. You are meant to be here. You have a purpose, a mission, and it is time to live with peace and prosperity. I'll see you next time, and don't forget to subscribe and like and share.
This has been Unlearn the Crap TV with your host, Kathy Baldwin. Tune in each week as Kathy challenges you to rethink everything you know about personal empowerment and societal structures. Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.